got Dane. Can you guys see Dane on the big screen?
Yep.
Look at this guy. He is the man. Dane, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate you more than you know. And I know how important it is that we have graphics as our foundation, as Jeff and Jay, or I said Jeff and Jay. You can tell what kind of morning I'm having, as Terry and Jeff were just talking about. But I wanted to see if we could hear it from the expert. First of all, we appreciate it because you did literally wrote the guide.
I
And when
did.
we say the guide, I mean, you have a guide
There it is.
artwork for
You got one.
DTG printing. So we have that available. We have a copy and we can't wait to share a few. We have 5 set aside for some winners, by the way. But
Very good.
talk to me about Raster. We hear that word a lot, and I think people get confused with Raster.
Yeah, sure
Not
thing.
sure what that means. Maybe you
So,
give us a quick.
man, it's one of the biggest things I hear when I do all my seminars, all trade shows and stuff. It's you know, they'll come up to me after our class or at my booth and look at my graphics and stuff and say, "Man, is this vector?" Well, you know, because I need to use vector, right? Because I think vector, everybody's used to using it or know the term for some reason, right? It's like an earworm thing. So everybody thinks they understand what a vector file is, and they think they have to have a vector file. And actually, with DTG printing, dye sublimation, and a couple of others, you're better off without using vector. It can work. You will print a shirt. Don't get me wrong. But vector lays flat, first off. There's nothing to camouflage the eye, right? So if you got a big, wide, solid surface of a flat color, and you're in Arizona with no humidity, and you might lose a couple of nozzles in your print, right? If you do that, you will see some banding in that print because that flat area, your eye's gonna go straight to it. Well, if you use a raster image, like a photograph, first off, and that's what a raster file is. If anybody has one of these and they've ever taken that selfie, you just created a raster file. All it is a pixel-based image. And if you have enough resolution and stuff, you're good to go. But it's best to use, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, well, you're the
Raster
expert, so
file,
we're
right?
going to lean on your opinion, and a lot of us have come out of the vector world because either we were cutting vinyl or
Yep.
we were screen printing, and for years we had it. So I think the advantage with DTG printing is, of course, you can do both fine, but I love what you said about raster kind of giving you, it's almost like it unlocks more color, it unlocks more depth. Would you agree with that?
100%.
So
Yeah.
so I'm going to put you on the spot, my brother. What
Uh-oh.
program do you use? What is it that Dane uses to
Dane
create
uses
these?
Photoshop.
One more
Did we
time
say
for
that
the
right?
folks in the back.
Photoshop. It's the bomb. That look, all you need is Photoshop. You don't need Illustrator, Corel Draw, and all this other stuff. Literally, you can create the entire design, start to finish, top to bottom, inside of Photoshop. That's it in the story.
I love that. And for those who are brand new, there's lots of training guides floating around, but you probably have one that you would recommend, right?
Of course. I mean, the best one out there that I've seen so far, by the way.
It is.
That
Go
would
ahead.
be artwork for DTG printing by me. See, there it
Okay.
is.
We're not here to sell anything, but I do want people to understand the time and I'll frame it this way. I knew it was a hit when all of our techs, both here in Arizona and in New Jersey, basically were like taking it. Like we kept
Right.
bringing out a copy and then it would disappear. Bring out another copy, disappear. And why? Because they were using your guide to even brush up. And these are techs who've been around, so they knew what they
Right.
were doing, but they wanted to see it from your point of view and learn some of those tips. So you unlocked a lot there. So
Awesome.
let's talk about DTG printing specifically. I know you and I've had some conversations about this. First of all, you've been around the block, right? You've been around screen printing and DTG
Oh
printing.
yeah, started well, gosh, in the 80s, man.
Okay. And you've owned an Epson DTG printer, so you've
Yes.
kind of walked your way around that bad boy too.
And
Um,
and one in Equipment Zone
the
pre-treater
speed
machine, by the
treater.
way.
Yeah. Thank you for the plug. We
I
appreciate
do
that.
dig it. It's awesome, y'all. I'm just saying. I was wagging a spray in it before, so
Okay, so everyone's blowing up the chat saying, where do we get that? But where do we get that copy? So for those of you who want more information on Dane's guide, please visit our website, and we'll of course send out a link to everybody talking about the Photoshop guide and how to prepare artwork for DTG printing. But let's do that. Give us 1 or 2 tips. I know color is important. I know you know it's important. What would you say to, like, if I'm a DTG printer, what do I need to know about color? What would you tell me? What
well, the first two things, and it's set up right before you even do anything as far as artwork goes. One would be proper size, file size resolution, right? And the file size. So Jeff and Terry went over 300 DPI. That's exactly what you should do. With all the graphics that we create at Great Dane Graphics, all of our stuff is 14 inches by 14 inches at 300 pixels per inch. We can print anything we want all day long. You can shrink it. When you start off with that kind of resolution, you can blow things up. But the number two thing that's often overlooked, and this is real quick story. I know Jeff said we can't have long stories, but I have a short story,
You
right?
can have a short story.
All right, I got a short story. So one of the things that's overlooked a lot is your color profile, right? And a lot of machine manufacturers want you to do sRGB because it's the dumbest RGB format out there, and it's less colors and whatever. So they more closely can hit that, I guess, is what they say. I disagree. So what I use for my color, I use Adobe 1998 RGB profile for everything I create, right? And I do that for a couple of reasons. Without doing anything else, just literally setting that up and creating my artwork, my colors are rich and my blacks are black. So my short story is, being a stalls company, we were involved in something at one of the factories for a really big sporting goods company.
Oh, okay. You don't have to tell us who. You don't
I can't.
Have to tell us
So anyways, very big. Everybody will know who it is. They were having some digital prints things with us, and major issues. And on a phone, I didn't even see a sample yet. They just asked me, hey, this is what's going on. Our blacks are kind of charcoal gray and our colors are flat. Two things they did. They used vector artwork, which I couldn't change because that's what it was. But I told them to change the profile and use Adobe 1998. And that by itself changed it night and day. So that got the program moving forward on its own. I didn't do anything, but I was the smartest guy in the room that day. That was pretty good.
That's a good place to be. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I love what you said about getting those rich, dark blacks. That's critical for DTG printing. No doubt about it. Well, I don't want to cut you off, my friend. I could talk to you for hours. I know how deep you could go into Photoshop and all of this training.
Yep.
We're about to kick it over to our partners for some pre-treating. Is there anything else you want to leave us with in terms of a mic drop moment, is what I call it?
Can I have a minute?
I'll give you another minute or two.
Can I share my screen?
Maybe you would ask me to do that. Let me see if we can do that. Do you have control now?
No.
If you go down to the bottom and click on share screen, what happens?
I did that, but I got nothing.
There we go.
You got something?
I got something. I'm looking at a beautiful, beautiful
backyard.
vista. Is that your backyard?
Yeah, it is. All right, so here we go. Open up a file. I'm going to do this real quick because I tell people how fast you can do this. Now, if they want to know exactly how, it's in the book and in a whole bunch of other places. Open up your image. This looks pretty cool, right? I love tigers. That looks like a good looking tiger. We're going to make him look better. You can see here he's an RGB file. So if I go to image adjustments, right, I'm going to go to selective color first. I'm going to drop down some neutrals here. What I'm going to do is, not 30. I'm removing neutrals in our image, right? So if you take a look, I'm literally just getting rid of gray matter in the image. I'm going to hit OK. My next step, image adjustments. Whoops. Hue saturation. And all I'm looking for at this stage is the saturation slider. So I kick it up until I see something that looks pretty good. I think that tiger looks way better. I think my grass
better. And the green in the back pops.
It's too much, a little bit too much. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to come down the greens and I'm going to reduce it just a bit because right now it's competing with my tiger right there. It's not. So I'm going to go with that. Next step, image adjustments, brightness and contrast. I'm going to click on this use legacy. It uses an old version. I'm going to hit 5 in my contrast. I just want a little bump in contrast. Image adjustments levels, right? If I hold my option key or the alt key on your PC, I'm gonna set a black point by doing this, clicking on that triangle and moving until I see black pixels. Do the same thing on the other side, right? I'm looking for white pixels. As soon as you get a nice little chunk, you stop. There we go. Now watch this. I'm gonna go to my channels. That's my RGB channels. If I go to image mode, come down to lab color, right? Go to my lightness, filter. I'm going to sharpen this guy, unsharp mask. Right now, I selected lightness. That's just the detail in the image. So I can crank it up big time and not affect the color in my image. That looks pretty cool. I'm going to hit OK. Go back to my RGB, right? That's what we're going to print. Wow. This is what we started with.
Yeah, look at that before and after. Unreal. Look at that, folks.
Those are 6 steps, dude, that I do all the time in the same order. Everywhere. So,
I love it. Well, man, I know you were going fast. Every single one of those steps is in the book. I know people are already asking, how can I get a hold of Dane? So where should people find you if they want to connect with you?
So find me at greatdanegraphics.com. Shoot an email there or Dane at greatdanegraphics.com and I can get back to you, no sweat.
Okay, and we're gonna make sure that everybody's aware of the link also for how they can reach out to us on our website for those that want to enjoy the rich learning from the man. No wonder they call you Great Dane, because you're great